call up meeting order, application.
Father God, thank you for our time today. Thank you for all your blessings. Help us to make the best decisions for our county. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner File.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Grice.
Here.
Commissioner Dice.
Here.
Commissioner Leyland.
Present.
Commissioner Marquetti.
Here.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Here.
We have a quorum. 5:00 p.m. we have a public hearing, proposed budget. Commissioner, administrator. Go ahead.
Yes. So we've prepared the fiscal year 23 and 24 budget. I think now would be obviously a time for if any member of the public would want to make any comments or offer any feedback on it, this would be the avenue to do so.
Good evening. My name is Lori Whitmire. I'm the district administrator for the Cass County Conservation District, also a resident of LaGrange Township in Cass County. I sent every one of the commissioners a letter through Commissioner Jones stating the reason why we're asking for funds for the Conservation District. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read the letter. If not, I can read it to you, or you can read it at a later time. Basically, it just states that we have to focus on certain things as a conservation district. And in order to do our job correctly, and for the county and for the residents, we need appropriate funds. Last year, you guys did fund the conservation district $6,100, $6,190 to be exact. 5,000 of that went for an audit. So that left us with just around $2,000 for any funds from the county. So this year, we would like to hire a water technician and a habitat restoration technician that handles both, basically, and other duties assigned for the district and the county. So this year, I would like the support from the county to fund the district a total of $50,000 in order to help with the funding for the new position and with just the livelihood of the conservation district as a whole. With those funds, we would be able to have a lot more programs. We would be able to provide education to schools. We would be able to go and speak on behalf of the conservation district. I've also made plans to attend every school board meeting in the county so that we can represent what we have to offer the schools and the system as far as helping the kids in the schools learn about conservation, different aspects of soil, water, air, things that we do at the conservation district.
Can we comment on that?
No,
or
sit here.
Okay, thank you.
Floor is open.
Move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Move forward. We'll close the public hearing. Any discussion? Not, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing is closed. As introduction of visitors, we'll start with the new man on the corner right there. Go that way. Yep.
Hi.
You are, yeah.
Hi, Sam Barrera. I'm candidate for District 6.
Jennifer Renfro, Cass County Finance Director.
Ambrosia Dalton, Content Manager.
Kathy Snow, resident.
Dale Snow, resident. Rick Marnaris, I'm here with the Barren Lake Association. Bruno Vidas, president of the Lake Association. Jeff Van Bell, Drain Commissioner. Tom Hagel, treasurer of the Barren Lake Association.
Tracy Monroe, Sheriff's Office.
Good hope, Sheriff. Richard Mankey? Sure.
Mary Howie, candidate for 5th District County Commissioner.
Mark Howie, delegate, Jefferson Township.
Mary Clark, candidate 5th District.
Steve Mammal, candidate for 2nd District.
Carol Wheeler, probate judge and resident, Penn Township.
Hope Anderson, County Treasurer, Calvin Township.
Lori Whitmire, Cass County Conservation District, District Manager.
RJ Lee, Commissioner candidate for District 8, and then this is Teddy Robert.
Yeah.
Samantha Lee, resident, and Trinity.
Okay, welcome everyone. Floor is open for public comment. Is that 3-minute limit? Floor is open.
Thanks. It was like a, I don't know.
You state your name and so the clerk can get it.
Bruno Dias, we've had a pump on the lake to maintain the lake level so it wouldn't vary greatly from year to year for more than a decade. And we've been working for the last 5 years with consultants of how to increase the efficiency. The efficiency's been going down and down. So we're using a lot of electricity and we're getting 20 or 30% efficiency. So after the 5 years, we found a location that would increase the efficiency tremendously and basically want to put a substitute pump that will work better than what we've been using for the last decade plus.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
Yes, thank you. My name is Dale Snow. I have a home on Eagle Lake. I wanted just to introduce myself and also let this board know that I'm involved in the development of the dock property on Eagle Lake. I've been a resident on the lake since 1980. My wife has been there since 1972. We're involved in a lawsuit against the road commission. I'm not really here to talk about that. Obviously, there's details that I can't go into. But I did want to at least let you know who I am, that we're very familiar with the lake, and we're very highly regarded as good stewards of the lake by the lake community. Maybe a couple of just quick facts that are public facts, and then I'll move on. First, there is a court case that does affect our property from 1957. Basically, it says that the road right-of-way for about 200 feet of our water frontage does go to the water's edge, and that the public does have the right to access the water vis-a-vis the right-of-way. We're not challenging that, so I do want the public to know that. I think the other thing I would share is that the primary premise of the lawsuit is that the road commission is claiming that we lost our riparian rights. That court case does not do that. In fact, there's a 2010 Michigan State Supreme Court case that says that wherever a parallel road to the water crosses the fee of deed owner to the water's edge, they do not lose their riparian rights. And there is no court case before that that says we as a point of fact do lose our riparian rights. So that's point one. Point two is that when we came up, went through the planning committee process within the township, this question did come up and the township attorney did get involved in the case. And during that process, she stated that she had researched over 50 years of history in terms of the deed, and she confirmed that the deed in fact does go to on the west of the water's edge of Eagle Lake, and that we do have riparian rights. Certainly, I think you'd believe that if we didn't get the approval of the planning committee and the board of trustees, we wouldn't have made the significant investment that we made to put in the infrastructure, put in the sewer system, the power, the gas, the electric, the road. We wouldn't have done that. So I just want to have a few basic facts out there. You know, we are challenging them. We've made a significant investment. I know that our investment to date is well into six figures. I suspect the road commission as well. And, but we won't stop, you know. We wouldn't have done this if we didn't believe we had it, and if it wasn't approved by the township, the various communities in the township. So I'll stop with that unless there's any questions, and just wanted you to know who I am, and if there's any further information that this board would like, you know, certainly to the extent I can, I'm happy to share what I can. I apologize, there is one last question. So in terms of financial oversight by this board of the road commission, may I ask, is there any financial oversight?
We don't, public comment is not,
Okay.
it's not too
All right,
informal.
fair enough. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Okay, no more public comment? Okay, proposed consent, approval of agenda.
Oh, yes, Chairperson. I would like to approve the agenda with the addition of M-169-22. It is a motion to approve a secondary road patrol grant in the amount of $106,345.05, and I move we approve the agenda as amended.
Chair, I second the amendment.
Properly moved and supported.
Could you say that again?
I'd be happy to. Okay, I move for approval of the agenda with the addition of M-169-22. It is a motion to approve a secondary road patrol grant in the amount of $106,345.05.
Thank you.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Agenda is approved. No recognitions. No presentations tonight. So we'll go with the proposed consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, motion 162-22, a motion to approve claims dated August 19th, 2022, and motion 163-22, motion to approve August 18th, 2022 Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes and August 22nd, 22 special meeting minutes. I move the above listed item be voted on at one time by roll call vote, be considered as a consent agenda by the Board of Commissioners.
I second that.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner File,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yep.
Commissioner Grice.
Yes.
Commissioner Dice.
Yes.
Commissioner Leyland.
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Yes.
Roll call vote passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Committee reports. District 1, Commissioner Leyland.
Nothing to report tonight, thank you.
Commissioner File.
Well, the planning board has started the work on the master plan for the planning board. That's all I have to report.
Okay. Commissioner Marquetti.
Yes, I attended the NATS meeting, Niles Area Transportation Study, and I just have one thing to report, and that is MDOT is telling us that construction costs, and we plan out 23, 24, 25, for 23, up 30%.
Oh, 30%, okay. $3,100, okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Commissioner Benjamin.
Chair, I was traveling in DC and was unable to attend my committee meetings.
Okay. Commissioner Grice.
Nothing to report, sir.
Commissioner Jones.
For our Veterans Committee, it's really, this month is business as usual. We're still getting money and back pay for a lot of the Cass County veterans. We had a slight issue at the fair, so we're working through that. But after 200 in-person phone call and email and other meetings, we got 2 complaints. One was weeded out as non-relevant, so I think we're doing pretty good, about 98%, 98.9 I'll even give it. Then with my homeless committee that I started 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I'm thinking about putting it on the agenda to dissolve it as far as the county goes, but pass it off to a civilian, in my language, entity, so there's no governmental interference, because it turns into a cluster if the government gets too involved, so stay tuned. I'm still gonna get some advice from people that are smarter than me on that subject. That's all I have.
Okay. Appointments Committee.
Yes, we have openings on Woodlands, and we have openings on the EDC. So when you go to your townships, I have 2 openings on the Woodlands Board. I have 1 opening on the EDC Board, so when you go to your townships, please let them know that we have these openings, and they can apply by going on the Cass County website and hitting in the search section, boards and commissions, and the application will come right up. And we meet next week.
Any questions for Commissioner Marquetti? Okay, Administrator.
Yes, so my report is in the packet. I'm happy to answer any questions about that. I'll add a couple things. GIS Director Espelind and I met with the City of Dowagiac to kind of chart out what the path forward be with GIS. We are anticipating having an MOU to offer services from the county to the city at the next commissioner meeting, so I'm excited for that. I think it's going to be a great framework for us to start looking at expanding that service to other partner agencies as well. We are still looking at a special meeting for hopefully later this month for the historic courthouse. The idea would be to have a final design presentation from Intersect, and then potentially a look at a path forward for a resolution on kind of the renovation phases as well. We haven't finalized anything yet. We're meeting with Intersect and Plaza Corps sometime hopefully within the next week or 10 days to kind of chart that out, but as soon as we have some information, we'll get that out. I would imagine we'll have an announcement ready for the next meeting on the 15th. And then I guess I'd like to give a quick update on the county's Facebook page. We talked about how we had created one, I think, about 2 meetings ago. We were hoping to try to leverage that really to kind of communicate more with the community. We started publishing public notices that have come out. Community events, we're kind of working with other organizations out there to kind of highlight those events and, you know, provide an avenue for people to see those. And I guess I will happily say that I think I'll be buying pizza for the office here because I had made a comment that if we got to 1,000 followers, I would do that. And as of this last week, we actually have 1,000 people following our Facebook page. So I'll be a little more diligent next time, making sure I set those numbers a little higher.
Any
Chair?
questions for, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
I forgot what the abbreviation was. It's IOU or IUO?
MOU. MOU.
Well, MOU, what
It
does
is
that mean?
memorandum of understanding. So
Oh,
essentially,
okay.
it would be you know, kind of an agreement between the county and the city as to how this would work. And what we're hoping is that we would have a draft ready for the city of Dowagiac to consider. I think their meeting would be the 12th. And then we could bring that back for the meeting on the 15th. And we'll know by then if the city had approved that, and then the Board of Commissioners would have a chance to look through it and decide if they'd like to approve it as well.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mike. Commissioner.
Just a quick
Rice.
question. I know
Sure.
we decided to do away with Zoom, but I thought our license was good until the end of the year. Why are we not up and running for the rest of the year if our license has been paid for?
Yeah, from my understanding, the motion was to discontinue the use of Zoom for meetings, although we are broadcasting
commissioner
on-
meetings.
Commissioner meetings, yes. We are broadcasting on YouTube as a stream. So if people can go, it's on our website, you can go and see our YouTube channel and would be able to watch all of the proceedings there. So it doesn't have that kind of participatory component where, you know, that's where I guess Zoom would have an advantage, but in terms of being able to watch the proceedings and have a record of that, we're planning to archive those as well. So if somebody isn't able to be here or watch it right at that time, they'd be able to watch it later.
And it's up and running today?
Yep.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Commissioner Benjamin?
You had mentioned a date for the courthouse. If at all possible, I'd like to see if we could do that before the 18th.
Before the 18th?
Or, yeah, then I return on the 6th,
Okay, I will see what I can
if
do.
that's possible. Thanks.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Administrator. Public safety.
Good evening. I want to go tell you about a situation we had this week. School started in Wajak, and one of our deputies got called to a house by a parent who found a gun in their student's bedroom. And the deputy responded and found a gun and a magazine, which is, a lot of people call it a clip. The magazine is what carries the ammo in a gun. And we noticed the magazine didn't match the gun that was in the bedroom where it was found. He took action. He called the school to let them know that there's a possibility of a gun in the school, and they took the student out of class to the principal's office, and the deputy responded to the school along with the school resource officer with the Wajak Police Department, and they searched the student and found a gun. And good thing it wasn't loaded, but that still was a potential threat to the school itself. I bring this up because the deputy went above and beyond in this case. It would have been very easy for him to just confiscate the gun or take note of the gun, but he noted that that magazine was different than the magazine of the gun that was in the room, and took action. And we were commending him for taking that action to get that gun out of the school, literally 2 hours into the first day of school this year. So it's been it's something that I was encouraged to bring up to you today as great actions by one of the deputies in this case. So that was good news.
Yes, it is.
It is September 1st, Labor Day weekend. We traditionally call this the end of summer. The Marine Division starts tapering off after this last weekend, but we'll still provide services from the Marine Division through the end of the month. They just start slowing down a little bit because the activity slowed down. So, one thing I'd like to announce today that we have not a new person, but a new person in a new position in the office. If you recall, a year and a half ago, Donna Dominiak retired as the administrative assistant to the sheriff's office. And we now replaced her with Tracy Monroe, who's coming up here to say hi. Tracy.
Good news.
This was a long process. As you know, we went through classification, compensation studies and everything. Once we got our feet on the ground, we started doing interviews. We interviewed 11 different people for the position, 10 from outside the county government, 1 from within. And came down to the one from within stayed with us, shined during her interview. So this is Tracy Monroe. She's a 14-year member of the sheriff's office. Prior to that, she was with St. Joe County Dispatch. And prior to that, she had public sector employment in HR and accounts payable fields. And that's what she's going to be doing a lot of as the assistant or operations manager for the sheriff's office. As you notice, we've changed that title as well. So, like I said, Tracy came to Cass County 14 years ago. She started as a 911 emergency dispatcher. Then 5 years ago, we had a position open up for accounts payable and receivable, and she signed up. We're going, what's this? It's Tracy. Then she brought that public sector employment prior to our attention, and she's been doing an excellent job in that position. And now we're taking her to the next level of being the operations manager. So Tracy is from St. Joe County. She has her husband Randy, children Mackenzie and Mason, and of course the most important 3 people in her life. I said people, you know this. Okay, I did it. Her 3 dogs, which are Sparty, Stormy, and Loki.
And I want to note, we're not Spartan fans. He was inherited, and that was his name. We would have done Wolverine, just saying.
Yes.
And you're standing next to him.
I know, well, but I'm like between both of them, yeah.
But we welcome Tracy to the position, and with that being said, we now have an opening in the accounts payable and purchasing department at the sheriff's office as well, and we're going through that process. I wanted to introduce Tracy so you know when you call my office, this is who you're gonna be getting, or you come over to the office, she'll be greeting you as well. Yes, ma'am.
Just happy to see that somebody within is moving up. It's great.
We tried hard not to, but it.
I know, I just want to go away.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a safe holiday weekend.
Good luck, Tracy.
And go green.
Go blue.
Yeah, go Irish. County partners, do you have any county partners here tonight?
No, we do not.
Elected officials?
No county partners.
Elected officials?
Elected officials? We have one, okay.
Go green.
You dropped my boy out there last week, so. We have received a very large number of principal residence exemptions denials from the state of Michigan. And just last week, we got 144. That is more than we get in 2 years' time. We got in one shot. This is not their first bunch that they've sent us, but it was the largest at one time. I wanted to take this opportunity to explain what that means. A principal residence exemption exempts a principal residence from the tax levied by a local school district for school operating purposes up to 18 mills. A principal residence is one place where a person has his or her true, fixed, and permanent home to which, whenever they're absent, he or she intends to return. If determined appropriate by the township or city assessor, the Michigan Department of Treasury, the county equalization director, or the county treasurer, a PRE denial can be issued for the current tax year as well as 3 years prior. A denial will add the school operating millage as well as any associated interest and penalties to the tax roll for the tax year in which it is denied. Any prior year denials, as well as the associated interest and penalties, are billed and collected by the Cass County Treasurer's Office and forwarded to the applicable taxing units. Since 2019, which is when we got BSNA, we have denied 328 parcels, and that generated $665,255 in school operating. That does not include the interest and penalty. The most recent list of denials I got from the state of Michigan, again, is 144 parcels. When all the dust settles, that'll probably generate anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 for school operating. On that list, I was asked recently, so where are those parcels? Where are those 144? Just, if you're curious, I'll give you the three highest areas. Ontowa had 17, Porter had 17, and City of Dowagiac had 17. There are several ways that we flag a parcel for a PRE audit. There's a process, and I'll just give you some of the ways that we flag a parcel. So if a tax bill is returned with a forwarding address that's not that principal residence, if we found out that it's a rental property, if neighbors call in because they suspect that someone in their neighborhood has a primary residence somewhere else. And also, the state uses tax returns. People don't know that, but right after tax returns are issued, I usually get a huge list of state denials. But again, those denials can come from multiple places, including my office. We do audits for those same reasons. I would be happy to answer any questions that anyone has about principal residence exemption. I just wanted to take that opportunity because we have been swamped with a lot of them recently. Anybody have any questions?
You probably don't have this answer. Dollar amount, what are we talking dollar amount?
So for the 144 that we just got, we're going through them because sometimes it's a bona fide sale. Those I shoot back to the state of Michigan and say, well, that person sold that property, so now you've got to bill them. But for all those individuals that I'm gonna bill, it'll probably generate anywhere from $50,000 to $150,000 in school operating, plus interest. They're billed interest at a 1.25% from the bill that they should have paid. So they didn't pay school operating for 2019. When that bill was issued in 2019, they're paying at 1.25 interest every month till now.
Every month?
Every month.
Wow.
It's huge.
It's painful.
You know, and what we often tell people is pay attention to your notice of assessment that comes in February. It tells you if you're getting a homestead or not. If you shouldn't be getting it, you need to tell somebody immediately because you're gonna be the one that'll pay the price in the end.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
my understanding also is that's not appealable at the Board of Review at the township.
That is correct.
is Only appealable at the state.
That's right. And we, as a courtesy, every time I submit a denial to someone, I give them the instructions on how to appeal. They only have 35 days. They can't appeal to me, I have no jurisdiction over it, they have to appeal to the Department of Treasury. If I deny it, they have to appeal to the Michigan Tax Tribunal. So there's your educational principal residence. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope.
Hello, Earl Wheeler. I just wanted to let you know, I thought of it as I was sitting there, just in case any of you hear any complaints, if you could let me know about it. As chief judge, since we have been given directives by SCAO to start moving back to more in-person proceedings. Some people love Zoom, some people hate it, and that's okay that we have both opinions. But definitely, you know, we're gonna continue to utilize Zoom in our court hearings because it does make things more accessible for people that don't have transportation and for attorneys who are out of town. But if you hear people complaining, please always let them know that they have the option of coming in person to our building. Our building's open, and we would never deny somebody to attend their hearing in person, even if it was scheduled in Zoom, because I know sometimes internet is not widely available or they don't have good service. And we're trying to spread that word, but people should never feel like they can't come to their hearing in person. So if you hear that in your community, I just wanted to get that word out because they're gonna be hearing more about it from us. That we will keep some things via Zoom, but we're trying to do our best to balance those interests. Because for some people, if they're just doing a 5-minute hearing, it doesn't make sense that they have to miss work and, you know, miss all the things in their lives. So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And we definitely want to accommodate people, make sure their due process rights are protected, and also make our courts accessible. So.
Let it fix them.
That's right. But anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Any other elected officials? I think that's it. Okay, we have no unfinished business, we have new business. Commissioner File.
Okay, unless you want me to, I'm just gonna read a portion of this.
That'd be fun.
Okay, R 16422 is revised L 4029 resolution. Whereas it is statutory duty of Cass County Board of Commissioners to authorize the levy of county's millage rate for 2022, and whereas the county millage is affected by MCL section 21134D, Headley Rollback, that has limited the county to 6.7255 mils for 2022. And whereas the state treasury has notified Cass County on monies to be received under the convention facility liquor tax of $139,203 and Health and Safety Fund Act revenue of $0 for a total of $139,203, which further reduces the county millage rate to 6.7255 mils due to MCL section 31134D and PA 5 of 1982. Therefore, be it resolved that after much deliberation and consideration of the county's budgetary needs for 2022, Cass County Board of Commissioners has decided the best interest of the county to levy 6.7255 mils, which is 4.5702 allocated mils, and 0.9858 mil for Council on Aging, and 0.4751 mil for drug enforcement, 0.4944 mil for Cass County Medical Care Facility, and 0.2000 mil for E911 emergency dispatch. I so move.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the resolution? No discussion, Madam Clerk, please.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Grice?
Yes.
Commissioner Dice?
Yes.
Commissioner Leyland?
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti?
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin?
Yes.
Commissioner File?
Yes.
Roll call, or resolution 16422 passes by roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Jones, R 16522.
It's a resolution for fiscal year 2024 General Appropriations Act, so moved.
Support?
Well, I'll second that.
Oh, you supported, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't hear.
Second.
I didn't hear it.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry,
It's been
didn't hear
moved
it.
and supported. Is there any discussion on the resolution?
I have questions for
Yes,
administration.
go ahead.
I think two of them. What was the ending deficit for the budget?
For fiscal year '23, it was, let me double check here.
For the proposed one?
Yes, it was roughly 1.8. I can get you an exact number here in just a second. Yeah, it's 1.8 million.
My comment is I'm concerned with such a large deficit. And then my other comment is related to the Conservation District, which I'm supportive of the funding. I think that the proposal that they recommend should probably be submitted separately to administration for consideration, whether that be this year or next year. You can go to Conservation District? Okay. So, but I think that should be probably looked at, and I'd love to see the analysis from finance and whatnot for impacts.
Okay.
That's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Commissioner,
Yes.
I too have been concerned about the deficit. I've had conversations with Matt, with Jennifer about it, and I'm very concerned about it.
Any other discussion?
And I totally agree with that. I just feel like we're the federal government right now. We're passing budgets and spending money that we don't have at this point in time. And the other thing, looking at the budget, and I went through it pretty good, I see no budget for the building we're remodeling. You know, if we're hoping to open that up in '23, there's no line item or no money set aside. Where's the budget for that building?
That would come out of the ARPA funding, which is actually in fund, is it what is it? Or 282. And so there isn't normally with those funds, I think it's above, what number is it above where there isn't a budget that's generated?
There is $4,000, or I'm sorry, $4 million in the budget for revenue and expenditures under ARPA. It's Fund 282.
282, yes.
Just go ahead.
I was told that we've never been under budget or had a positive or in the green, you know, in the last 10 years, 15 years. Is that true or not? People being concerned last year, negative, the year before that, year before that, year before that, year before that. But talking to Jen and Matt, they have a get well plan, and there's a plan in place to fix all this, or to be somewhat close. We're not holding you to, you know, we need to be $1 million in the green, but, you know, is that true that we're historically in a deficit every year?
Yes. You know, I think some of it is, and it goes back, I think, at least 10 years, where you were looking at usually utilizing funds from the Budget Stabilization Fund. You know, there's a couple things that go into it. I mean, I think with any expenditures, we're always trying to be conservative with that. So, you know, we allocate, for example, salaries based on an entire year. If we're planning on adding a position that starts in the middle of the year, most of the time you're going to see a full salary. It doesn't account for things like vacancies. There is annual contributions that go into the Public Improvement Fund from the general fund. So that's not really a loss in revenue, or I mean an expenditure in the sense that we're expending money on something that we can't recover. I mean, it's just transferring money to a different pool where that'll be used for that. You know, and I think when you take into account the kind of the differences that we see, we look at revenues, for example, as well. And for example, this year, the marijuana tax revenues that we estimated at exactly the same revenue we received this last year, because we know what that number is. There's no way to know what the new revenue amounts will be in advance.
Because it's all dependent on the culture. So the number that we have in depth, it's not really a hard number. That could go down or up, but more than likely down, because we haven't considered, like you say, the vacancies.
Yeah.
That number is in there, and we have a lot of vacancies, so you have to put that in there just in case we hire people. And the revenue from the marijuana, revenue from taxes, and there's a bunch of other things that go in there. So in context, it's bad, but it's not as bad as what some of the naysayers or people, the mischief makers might be putting out there.
I mean, in most cases, last year was a prime example when you look at fiscal year '21. There was a deficit forecasted for fiscal year '21, and we ended up with a surplus. Because when you looked at those different changes that came up, it ended up resulting in revenues that were a little higher than anticipated, expenditures that were lower. And so in a lot of cases, that's what you're kind of seeing is expenditures are projected at the most we could see. Revenues are conservatively estimated kind of to be lower. So often we see those things variable, and we see it doesn't end up resulting in the picture that you see there. But we don't want to, not allocate, expenditures to their fullest extent or overestimate revenues. I mean, so a lot of that is really based on trying to be conservative and make sure that we've presented an accurate picture as close as we can, and then when those things come in and change, then of course that has an impact on the budget as well. Yeah, I mean, a good example of that too is when we have positions for vacancies, we always forecast with the idea that somebody would have a family and full benefits. That's 20,000. If it's not a family, you could see a $15,000 difference in that. But we can't budget with the idea that we're not gonna hire somebody that doesn't have families. I mean, of course that can happen, but we don't know what applicants will see, so that's a good example of where we budget at the highest cost we can see. And then if we don't end up with that, that results in a savings that the county would see on that year.
Because most people don't know that when you hire somebody or you have those vacancies, they see that this employee is making $64,000 a year, but they don't see those other 5 lines that are expenses. And if it's a vacancy, you still have to account for that. So,
and I can say too, kind of with your comment on the, the kind of the get well ideas that, I know Finance Director Renfro and I have talked, pretty extensively throughout this planning process that, there's been a lot of changes that have come up over the last year. Obviously the retirement situation, things along those lines, and we felt that it was important, to kind of continue with kind of the same process, budget planning that it had occurred, kind of prior to our tenure. We actually kind of started, I guess this whole process, or kind of assuming the duties for the whole process, kind of in the middle of, that time frame when prior administration left. So we didn't change a whole lot, but I know that as we get into next year, both of us have a big emphasis on wanting to really make sure we evaluate all of the changes and what impact they've had, and setting up the county for success into the future. I mean, I think next spring when we start planning for the fiscal year '24 budget, if difficult decisions have to be made, we're not, saying that we are afraid to make those. I mean, I think it's important for us to really understand the landscape first, and then, work with the Board of Commissioners, elected officials, and our department heads to effectuate those changes to, in turn, ensure the long-term fiscal health of the county.
Thank you, Matt. I have full confidence in you and Director Renfro's abilities.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Matt, the question, the disclaimer, I missed the special meeting on the budget, and I could have asked it there. So my question, how many departments came and asked for new employees in this budget?
In this budget, I think we had, there's about 3 or 4 total.
Total of 3 positions, 4 positions?
I think positions across the board, probably close to about, would you say 5 or 6, somewhere in there?
There was maybe 2, 3 that were part-time positions that they asked to kind of switch those up. There was one instance where we had 2 part-time and combined it to 1 full-time. So there was little changes like that. As far as brand new positions being added, I can't think of anything except for the HR assistant, which
Which
already
was-
came
yeah.
approved.
I think that's really
already.
the only difference is what it would be in the budget, I guess, is what was previously approved, but, you know, new positions compared to the prior year, but, you know, nothing that was a new request.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
So, and I understand some of the calculations you use for some of the revenues. I mean, and it does make sense to, when you're having a hiring, what's the maximum amount? You
Yeah.
might have a family that would have benefit costs versus somebody that may be single, young, and those healthcare costs and benefits might be lower.
Sure.
My concern is more around the expenses and around the fact that most economists are thinking that we're in or moving into a recession, which cost on certain goods going 20–30%. We've seen that with our cleaning contracts and stuff like that. And I'm worried about, okay, we tied 1.8 million, there might be additional costs that we don't know. I would be thinking we'd wanna button down, clamp down. I am opposed to this budget. I would rather us have a tighter budget and open it, you know, as things come up that we need to have extra expenditures to. But I'd rather have it tight on that, but that's where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Any other comments? I've been commissioner for 10 years, and we've run a budget deficit for a substantial part of those years, but I've never seen us lay anybody off yet. So at the end of the year, we've done business for those 10 years. Never laid anybody off, never shut any departments down. So this does bother me. This isn't the first time, this isn't the first rodeo that we've got to this point. So I'm comfortable with it. So if there any other discussion, we'll have to vote, Madam Clerk. Go ahead.
Commissioner Bryce,
No.
Commissioner Dice,
Yes.
Commissioner Leyland,
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti,
No.
Commissioner Benjamin,
No.
Commissioner File,
Yes?
Commissioner Jones.
Yep.
Roll call resolution 16522 passes by roll call vote.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you, county, and I'm just not familiar with this, do county budgets require supermajority like townships and other municipalities?
You know? Sure. No, I don't.
I'm sorry, I just don't know. Some of you've been on the board longer than I have. I
How
don't
would you
know.
even know to ask that question?
No, we had a township, you have to have a supervisor.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that applied. I don't know the county rule on budgeting. So I would say
Would you
maybe look at that, just
Would
to
you
be sure,
ask
but-
it again?
Supermajority.
Could you ask?
Yeah, I didn't know, I know other municipalities require a supermajority when passing budget. And I don't know if that applies to counties. I just don't know the rules on the voting on that.
Well, the vote's already done, so I don't think that's even valid question at this point.
It would be
It'd
if
be a
the
question.
requirement is a supermajority.
Yeah, if it's a requirement, then we'd have to
failed.
revote.
With a
It
pre-vote.
would have failed.
Yeah, it'd be
on the board of
superseded.
three. But it's something that can be answered later, but I'd be curious.
We can find that out.
Thank
I'll
you.
look into it.
So
Okay.
if it isn't, then we have to go back and revisit it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, R-16622.
Resolution R 16622, a resolution authorizing the grant the county drain commissioner authority to exceed the statutory expenditure limit to proceed with additional argumentation well for Bear Lake. I so move.
I second that?
Bob moved and supported. Any discussion on the resolution? If not, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dice,
Yes.
Commissioner Leyland,
Yes.
Commissioner Marquetti,
Yes.
Commissioner Benjamin,
Yes.
Commissioner File,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
Resolution R 16622 passes by roll call vote.
Thank you. M-16722, Commissioner Marquetti.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion to approve a budget amendment in the amount of $25,000 for juror fees. And then I would also like to, in that same motion, transfer $13,892.35 from clerk professional services. That's 101-215-801 .000 to election printing and binding 101-262-900.000.
Second.
Is that a motion? Just one motion?
Just one motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the motion? No discussion, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Commissioner Lehman,
Motion 168-22, motion to approve jail shower quote from R.W. Lapine Incorporated in the amount of $210,000 and to be completed by December 31st of 2022. I so move.
I'll second that.
properly moved and supported. Any discussion on the motion? Not, vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Is there another motion?
Yes.
Yeah, the added one.
We added
Which one?
motion M 169-22.
Who's doing that?
I will do that.
Okay, go ahead.
That is a motion to approve a secondary road patrol grant in the amount of $106,345.05. And I move that we approve this.
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have no closed session. Board member comments or announcements?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Did the solid waste planning committee get their bylaws approved?
We didn't get to it.
Didn't get to it? All right, thanks.
I'll make sure it's on the agenda for the next one.
Thanks.
Any other board members' comments and announcements? Commissioner File.
I just want to thank everyone who sent cards and said prayers for my family over the death of my granddaughter. Thank you very much. It
More than
was
welcome.
appreciated.
Welcome.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments? You notice on bridge crossing over the bridge in 2 weeks, Mr. Dyer will be there. I'll probably be the last tractor that goes across the bridge this year on 1300 tractor. I'll be the next to the last tractor. Me and Jesse Bemen are still butting heads on that, so.
What if the wind's blowing?
You must be driving a green one.
No, I'm driving a white one. The wind's blowing, we still go across.
So, but don't you have a tractor parade this weekend?
Yeah, that's one on Diamond Lake. Yeah.
Okay.
So where we go, yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Bob moves forward, any discussion? Not, all opposed, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, we're adjourned.